It's the middle of winter, and a fella's run into a little bit of predicament. He needs a new project. It's about time we just assess what's in the yard and just pick one, you know what I mean? They're all just pieces of garbage. So we're just gonna do the right thing and just pluck one out, see how bad it really is. Well, quantity over quality is sometimes a good problem to have. In my case, when I'm trying to build a nice truck that somebody actually wants, it's a little bit of an issue. If y'all remember the trucks that I bought out of that lot several months back, these two are some of the few that are still remaining. Problem being is, this one is rusted out with the complete interior, and this one is rust-free with no drivetrain. Perfect. I wasn't kidding. There's nothing in here. Not even motor mounts. Because you might be thinking, just slap a 2F in there, it'll be running by Sunday. Nope, nothing. Windshield's busted out of it. The paint looks terrible. Missing a tail light and the interior's just trashed. I wasn't kidding when I told you the interior was just trashed. You know, extra mud flaps. Found the cutout motor mounts. But don't worry, there's some good news on the horizon, right? I hope so. This doesn't look like it. Well, here's the good news. We just so happen to have a parts truck for the parts truck, which is a parts truck for this parts truck with the same color interior. So that is no longer an issue. The issue lies the fact that there's no driveline in this vehicle despite the absolutely immaculate frame it has. But don't worry, I got a plan for that. It's called dumping more money into this money pit. And it's on its way here to Virginia now. If you haven't guessed yet, we're gonna be body swapping this old 1985 FJ60. But honestly, you're asking, why? Well, a guy just so happened to find a rust-free California frame with complete driveline, suspension lift, and an entire list of upgrades done to it. It seems like a pretty good idea to me. All we gotta do is pull the body mounts out, the interior front clip, and them back together. Easy. We'll just start with the mounts first. Well, this may be the first time I've ever shown on camera pulling the entire front clip off without actually taking each individual piece off. That's because this was only connected by a few bolts, as probably way previous owner to me cut all the motor mounts out in preparation for some type of other drive line that they wanted to put in. So as you can see, no motor mounts there. Next step here is we want to get all the body mount bolts all disconnected, as well as any of the brake lines, emergency brake lines, or any fuel lines that are connected to the body. There are several mounts all the way across the back end of here, but we need to tackle all this stuff first. So we got to get through the carpet to get to those bolts. And we're still cleaning in here. I didn't take you through that entire process because you've seen me do it 1,000,001 times on the channel. This entire carpet's getting ripped out. It smells like some type of mouse or creature feces. So we're gonna be bringing that to the landfill and let them manage that. Thankfully, everything is coming apart very easily. I think it's a very dry truck. We have a ton of work. I think I bit off a little more than I can chew at this point, but we need to get those body mounts out, and that involves ripping the carpet out, which was going to go bye-bye anyways. We're gonna get a brand new carpet kit for it eventually. As you can see, the interior is all gutted and ready for me to loosen all the fasteners in order to get the body off the frame. Obviously, the interior is extremely dirty still, but we're not going to get to that until the body is on the new frame. I do want to take you through a couple of the items that need to be loosened and disconnected in order to get the body off the frame. First thing being is the parking brake cable. It's 4 12 millimeters here to loosen the actual mechanism, and then there's 2 under the cab on top of the body, and then you can kind of slip it through that hole, which will get done here shortly. You want to take your transmission cover off. We're going to be disconnecting the steering box from the actual column here. I've gone ahead and loosened this bolt. I do want to leave it in place so I do have the ability to steer the vehicle to where we're going to be doing the body lift off. You have a couple of brake lines here. As well, on the way back of the truck, you have your fuel lines that need to be disconnected. It's 2 rubber lines. Just be careful of those, they may be rusty. Starting on the actual cab, there's a total of 6 body mounts, 2 being on the front of the vehicle here with the front clip. As you saw, we already took that front clip off. The remaining bolts, there's 5 of them on either side. Starting here on the front of the cab, there's 1 here. Right below and under the driver's side seat and passenger side seat, there is an additional 1. Right under the spring perch of the rear wheel well, there is another 1 there. And directly behind where the mud flap would disconnect, you can see this one. And right behind the rear bumper, there is a final 1 that also has a window that needs to be opened with 2 screws in order to put a wrench on the top of that bolt. Once all those items are disconnected, the body should come off the frame fairly easy. We have a lot of work to get all those body mounts out. Everything else is mostly disconnected, and then we'll be able to lift this guy off. So let's jump right into it, get to work. Couple things to note when you're taking all the body mounts out. Number 1, they're all 14 millimeter bolts. Number 2 is that each bolt has a lock nut that goes on the bottom of them, which needs to come off first before you can actually loosen the mount. This is how I do the body mounts alone, since I'm usually working alone. I have a long extension that's going to go under the vehicle once you get that lock washer out, and it's going to attach to the actual bolt. Up top, we're going to use an electric gun as we're holding from the bottom. And as you can see, the body mount bolt comes right out, and we should be able to move it right out. Also want to mention that you don't want to mix these up, as they're mostly different sizes for each mount according to the vehicle. So make sure you're labeling them when you're going to put them away. Well, the rolling chassis that's going to be going under that Florida truck just got dropped off. This thing is absolutely immaculate. Looks like it's got a little surface rust, but we can take care of that. We're going to prep the whole frame with PR15, of course. But where it really counts, like back here on the cross member and the C channels, it's in excellent shape. The truck has been gone completely all the way through. As you can see, full exhaust system into a 2-piece header. It has a fuel injection system. The motor has been pulled and resealed, and I believe it only has about 150,000 miles. I do need to check that out. One of the cool things, and things I've never actually seen before, is that it's got late model 4Runner brakes on it. It's gonna require 17-inch tires and rims in order to fit those giant disc brakes. But that is something I don't think I've ever seen, so I'm really excited to get that all hooked up and see what the stopping power actually can do with those upgraded brakes. Now we just got to get it into the building by myself. I'm not going to be able to do this alone. Well, today I'm changing my name to Michelangelo because we're about to paint the Sistine Chapel with black paint. PR15, if you're wondering. It's gonna be a long, grueling job, but this frame is nice. So it should just pop right on, and there's no body instructing me from using these paintbrushes, you know? So let's jump to what I want to do. Imagine if we painted that ceiling black. Woohoo! Well, it's finally time to haul this truck over to a friend's house to get the body lifted off of it. If I had to guess, this might be the most exciting moment in this truck's life, because she's about to get some brand new shoes and socks. You saw that frame? She doesn't deserve it, but she's getting it. So let's get her loaded and get her on over there. Got here, unfortunately didn't get any footage of pulling the body off the old frame, but we're about to push the new frame under the body, which on the lift, as you'll see, the body looks absolutely amazing. So really excited to make these things together and get it back on the road. Let's get it off the trailer. Well, we got the body swap done, everyone. And the truck still looks like a kid that got coal on Christmas. I mean, don't worry, a couple more weeks, she'll start coming around, I promise. We've already started putting the body harness onto the engine, as well as hooking up the clutch and all the linkages and items like that. We're gonna go ahead and hook up the affordable fuel injection system that came on this motor. It's actually something I've never messed with, so I'm really excited about the drivability aspect of things and learning something new about fuel injection on one of these old 2Fs, as well as we need a gas tank that ain't dirty inside, and we got one. So that's gonna be the fun today. We're gonna be putting that gas tank in, and then we gotta put the front end back on, you know, because the lines, they're just not doing it for me right now. We need that front end back on. Dang, that's a lot of work. You might be asking, why, Jonas, go through all the trouble to switch out a gas tank, maybe try to clean it while it's in the truck? We're just not. So this is what a gas tank looks like inside after it's been sitting for a very long time. I don't know if you can pick up on that, but that is just caked with rust. Then we go over to this one that is going in. As you can see, very nice and clean in there for a used gas tank. That is what you want to see. That will create less problems down the road. The gas tank is in. All I'm gonna say is, who needs a yoga studio when you got a Landcruiser gas tank and you gotta be in every single position to hold it up by yourself? That's all I'm gonna say. But the gas tank's in. Next project. Well, we're over here diving into the fuel injection wiring harness that came with the rolling chassis that is now under the body. Thankfully, the people that I bought the rolling chassis from labeled absolutely everything and have all the connectors in the place that they need to be. Some things that we need to get back in order are the fuel pump. Got to get that all wired back up. We got to make sure that we get a fresh pedal, because the cable is actually what's going to be running the accelerator, not a linkage that is typical for an FJ60. We're going through all this little bit of labeling and we're trying to get it all figured out. It's gonna take a little bit of time to figure out where things go and make sure that I have everything, but that's what we're doing right now. We finally have that EFI harness all hooked back up to the truck. We also took care of some little projects like getting this accelerator cable to work with the accelerator pedal. As when you're changing from linkage to the cable, you do need to drill a hole through the firewall. It's just the way that that pedal is set up to accept the cable. Moving forward, we're gonna be getting that front clip back on. You may remember we took it off as one big chunk. That's not gonna be a possibility to put it back on when you're sitting here alone and doing this project alone. So we had to pull that entire chunk apart into pieces. So we're gonna go ahead and start by getting the radiator support on, as well as the radiator. We already have some hoses all set up to accept that. And we're gonna start getting this thing ready to fire up and look like Landcruiser again. Front end's back to square one, which was a pain in the butt to put back on the vehicle, only because we were missing just about every bolt imaginable to secure it to it. And anything else that was left over was loose, too tight, or broke on the way out, so that just really sealed the deal for the front end. Anything that isn't secure is either broken or missing items that we need to get in part storage. Things like these lights bezels and these the grill tabs are broken, so we need to go to part storage, get the right pieces before we can actually secure those to the vehicle. Things also like this valance, it was missing the sprayer nozzles. We had to go grab those as well. So we're gonna get that all buttoned up once it's on the ground and off the trailer and running and driving. Every time I feel like we're moving forward on this red truck project over here, things are quickly backpedaling. The wiring for the ignition was completely cut out, and the combination switch wiring was also cut out. I got a fresh combo switch, used one out of the parts bin, and we're again cutting this wiring harness up to get this to work. Hopefully now the key will, when turned, power up the truck or burn it down. I'm not really sure yet. Well, as you can hear, there's faint sounds of life. The key beeper is still working because the key is in ignition. Great news. Man, somebody's got to rip that thing out. Let's see if this old girl will make some chatter. Wow, it's got some life. We're losing sunlight. I'd love to see this thing fire up right now. So a couple quick tweaks. Let's see what she does now. See, the day's over, the light's gone. So a guy went in here and did the redneck slave cylinder bleed one-man band thing, so I could actually see this thing move for the first time in a million years. It probably has no business moving because it doesn't have any brakes just yet, but I really want to see some small victories today by moving at least a foot or so. She's got a parking brake, she could stop if she had to. So let's see what happens. She moves. She was also in neutral in the transfer case, but she moves, everyone. This truck's got an extremely long way to go, but it's a small thing sometimes.